village of the town of Velyka novoselka is almost completely fallen, and today's updates are coming in. There are videos showing columns of Russian vehicles coming into the center of the Velyka novoselka. This literally means that a huge number of Ukrainian forces have actually been trapped in a section of Velyka novoselka with no option of them getting out of that specific pocket. Now, on the outer side of Velyka novoselka, you'll also notice that there is a very huge number of Ukrainian forces on the outer side of Velyka novoselka that is still in their hands. However, if you notice keenly, there is that river over there that is known as Mokrial, and this river is literally a barrier around these Ukrainian forces. Now, the roads into Velyka novoselka through Novikamar and the southern side have all been captured by the Russian forces, which means that supplies it is now literally impossible for Ukrainians to get supplies into Velyka novoselka. Now, one thing I want you to notice with this video, I'll try and post it over here on my Telegram as well, is that if you check that video, you'll realize that there is very little resistance to this column of Russian vehicles going through the center of Velyka novoselka. Actually, these vehicles managed to drop infantry, then go back. Now, this points to two things. The first thing is that either Ukrainians were doing some sort of rotation over there, and they didn't really notice for a brief period of time, they didn't notice that the Russian column was coming through, and they only noticed that they had actually been surrounded, or these areas had actually been captured after this column had actually come through. Now, the second option is a situation in which either the Ukrainian forces in Velyka novoselka actually do not have enough weapons right now to literally defend themselves. The FPV drones are not available, and as a result, they could only just watch as the situation unfolded, and the Russians were able to capture the huge section in the middle of Velyka novoselka. Now, the Ukrainian forces in Velyka novoselka right now have around three options for them. Yeah, the persons who have actually been surrounded in a cauldron. Yeah, the first option is for them to lay down weapons and literally surrender to the Russian forces. This gives them an option or an opportunity to live again, and probably at a point be taken back to Ukraine after being a prisoner of war in Russia. The second option for them is to fight through the Russian occupied territories in Velyka novoselka, which definitely means a very huge percentage of them won't make it. The third option is to hope that the Ukrainian forces on the outside side of Velyka novoselka are able to mount some sort of a counter-offensive or a counter-attack to open the room specific where the areas the Russians are actually occupying, and enable these Ukrainian forces to literally evacuate from this pocket that had actually been surrounded. Now, all these options are quite possible, but for the third option, it is quite complicated, considering the fact that if the Russian forces were able to just get into the center of Velyka novoselka without meaningful resistance, then it means that they are literally short of weapons, and they need to get in vehicles and other things to come into Velyka novoselka to be able to launch some sort of an offensive or something of the sort. Now, for them to do that, they need to launch pontoon bridges along Mokrial river, which is possible to some extent. However, this area is being surveilled 100% by the Russian FPV drones. That means any pontoon bridges being noticed will be destroyed almost immediately. So that means there is a very little chance that they could be able to conduct such an operation, though it is possible, but it will come at a very huge cost through the artillery persons. Now, the Mokrial river, by the way, is quite interesting. There are sections of the Mokrial river that are quite shallow, yeah, which the Ukrainian forces that have not really been surrounded could actually swim across and get to the other side. However, you should know that the Russian FPV drones are actually monitoring these sections, and if there was an accumulation of Ukrainian forces crossing at a certain section, they'd literally be destroyed. Now, in addition to that, there are sections of the Mokrial river that are quite deep, wide. I'm showing you the pictures. You can see this picture. It has a recent picture. The river is quite wide, and that it needs some sort of expertise being able to swim. And definitely, it is quite unlikely that most of all these Ukrainian forces who are just being grabbed into the streets and brought into the war actually know how to swim. Yeah, so that is also a problem in its own. So the situation that is happening in Velyka novoselka is quite interesting. It is a matter of time before this village or town completely falls. into Russian forces. Now, after Velyka Novosilka falls, then it opens a very huge number of opportunities for the Russian forces across the front line. In addition to this news that is coming in today, there are other sections of the front line that have moved over today, sections in the Kursk direction that the Russians have actually tried to capture in today. So I will update that in the next video. Thank you guys for watching this video. Kindly follow me on this, subscribe to this channel, kindly follow me on my platforms, and let's meet in the next video.